Does being attractive make you more successful? Obviously, I wouldn't know. But research does show that attractive people do much better in job interviews and that they are 1000% more likely to succeed as actors. Up until this point, electric cars seem to have succeeded despite their looks instead of because of them. Designers seem to think it was important to make them look funky, so that you look at them and go, wow, that guy bought an EV, instead of just making them a beautiful car. Now, Nissan has been as guilty of that as anyone, but they have turned over a new leaf in the shape of this, the new and very beautiful Ariya. Just look at that sexy face. It could really succeed in Hollywood. I'm getting Judge Dredd's helmet, I'm getting bits of Blade Runner, I'm getting steampunk. Overall though, what I'm getting is a concept car that's somehow driven onto the road. It's fantastic and it's distinctly Japanese. Nissan call it timeless Japanese futurism. And the good news is it's just as cool inside. So the Ariya is a crossover SUV and it's almost the size of a Qashqai, but it feels much bigger inside, thanks to the flat floor and the fact that Nissan managed to move the air conditioning system forward under the bonnet to give even more space. It's also got lots of cool features like this, which is called the powered central storage unit, or what they call the magic box. It's also got lovely temper finishes. It's got these haptic buttons, which are hard to explain what they feel like, other than just to show you the joy on my face when I press them. Ah, lovely. And we've got two 12-inch screens and they're interactive, so I can flick like this and switch the sat-nav from one screen to the other. Then you've got this, the big central console, which I can move forward and back. And if I move it far enough forward, it makes more space for someone back there. So with that powered center console shifted forward, there's room here in the middle seat for an almost full-sized adult to sit. And if I move over and sit behind my driving position, look how much space I've got. The flat floor, I've got loads of knee room. It's limousine style back here.
The Nissan Ariya has a 466-litre boot, which puts it below the Nissan Qashqai, which boasts a volume of 504 litres.
The interior also features neat kumiko design touches. Kumiko is a form of Japanese craftsmanship that involves sticking pieces of wood together without nails. It sounds very clever, and it's an old world touch in a very new world car. The Ariya's approach to technology represents the Japanese concept of ki, Ki, which means cutting edge and chic, yet subtle at the same time, which is very Japanese. It includes features like an intelligent rear view mirror, which is basically a camera projected onto your rear view mirror. The Ariya also offers an Amazon Alexa connection, so you can ask your car to turn on the lights or the heating at your house before you get home. And there's an intelligent route planner, which not only directs you to your destination, but works out where you'll need to recharge to get there. It checks the status of those charges and will reroute you if they're busy to optimize travel time. So, here's a little driving tip for you. Don't try and do it in Sweden, which is where Nissan chose for some reason to launch the Ariya. Sweden is exactly what you'd expect from a country that brought you Volvo. It makes Melbourne look like Monza. The fastest speed limit I've seen all day was 70, and that was on a 3-lane wide freeway. So I can't tell you what the Ariya is like at 110 kilometers an hour, because if I did that in Sweden, I'd be shot or probably stabbed by a Viking. So it's a challenging environment. They also love speed cameras. There's one roughly every 500 meters. Still, I've had a lot of time to appreciate the ambience and the quiet interior of the Ariya, and it really is something. They've worked very hard on NVH. They won't tell us exactly who they benchmarked against, but it's definitely premium and quite possibly German. Everything about the Ariya is smooth. I like the ride, I like the steering. It's got almost a perfect 50-50 weight balance, so the handling is very good. And they made a very quick steering ratio, which they said was based on research around the Leaf. People didn't like how light it was. They wanted something a bit firmer, and that makes it really handle quite well as well. And it's quite involving to drive. So all in all, it's a fairly pleasant driving experience, as long as you're not in Sweden. So, doing about the average speed in Sweden. I've been looking for a nice bit of road now for about 3 hours, in which time we've covered about 30 kilometres. They do love a tunnel in Sweden as well, somewhere to sit and reflect on how boring driving here is. What I have noticed in that time is the seats are reasonable, but actually the back seat's a bit firm. I really like the steering wheel, which has a flat bottom like an F1 car. And I really like the way the car accelerates, but I can't remember what that feels like. But if I find another bit of road that's faster than 40 kilometers an hour, I'll let you know. So exciting news, I'm on a freeway, there's open space in front of me. I'm doing 70 kilometers an hour, which is the limit. But I want to talk about the acceleration of the car, and you can feel that here between 40 and 70 kilometers an hour. And it does have that kind of typical EV thrust, which is very nice. It's very smooth, a lot of instant torque, but there's a definite sensation that it's not as fast off the line as some electric cars. It doesn't have that instant surge. It's like they've programmed it to give you most of the torque, but not all of it, but then it does kick in about 20. So that kind of, the usable acceleration when you're overtaking and so on is very good. But there's not too much overtaking in Sweden. I think it's actually illegal. We're now on a 4-lane wide freeway and the speed limit is still 70. Oh, hang on. This is a very exciting moment. There's a sign that says 80. Just wait for it. We're going to surge from 70 to 80. That's probably one of the highlights of my day. I'm glad you were here for that. The other thing we should probably talk about is the name of the car. It's called Ariya, but as you can tell from the spelling, A-R-I-Y-A, that's not right. It should be Ariya. But we asked Nissan and they prefer that we didn't say Ariya. It's Ariya. Anyway, I'm in an 80 zone. Feel the thrill. Whoa! The 63 kilowatt hour variant offers 160 kilowatts and 300 newton meters of torque and can hit 100 kilometers an hour in 7.6 seconds. It's interesting to note that its top speed is only 160 kilometers an hour, which means it's going to be too slow to be bought by Germans. The 87 kilowatt hour version of the two-wheel drive Ariya gets 178 kilowatts and the same 300 newton meters of torque. Down the line, we'll also see the all-wheel drive E-Force version, which uses the 87 kilowatt hour battery but has an extra motor on the rear axle and produces 225 kilowatts, 600 newton meters, and a far more impressive 5.7 second dash to 100 kilometers an hour. It also has a top speed of 200 kilometers an hour. The E-Force also has a towing capacity of 1,500 kilos, which is double the two-wheel drive's capacity. We drove the base model two-wheel drive Ariya at launch, which comes with a 63 kilowatt hour battery and has a range of 403 kilometers between charges. In Europe, the car is also being launched with an 87 kilowatt hour battery that provides a very impressive range of 533 kilometers. Next up will be the all-wheel drive E-Force version, which will come with an 87 kilowatt hour battery only and a range of 500 kilometers. In terms of charging, the headline figure for the 63 kilowatt Ariya we drove was 28 minutes. That's how long it takes to go from 20 to 80% charge on a DC charger, or up to 350 kilometers of range in just half an hour of charging. On a home wallbox system, on the other hand, if you've got 3-phase power and 22 kilowatt charging, you can get from 10 to 100% charge in just 3.5 hours. With the more common 7 kilowatt single-phase wallbox, that 10 to 100% charge will take 13.5 hours. So there you have it, the new Nissan Ariya EV. The good news is, it's not just very pretty, it's pretty damn good. The slightly sad news is, we're not sure when we'll be getting it in Australia. Nissan is prioritising other markets, the ones that actually buy lots of EVs, so we will have to wait. But you can bet that Nissan Australia is definitely very interested in getting this car, so hopefully we'll see it down under in 2023. For more information, read my outstanding written review on CarsGuide.